have 3-4 accountants in the office. Are they doing work? Are they doing repetitive work? Are they doing work that can be done by 2 people? So at what time do we even know that I need an extra salesperson, I need an extra accountant? So they need to look at that, the entire processes, and do an observation with recommendations, of course. Hello, karibuni sana. This is your cheerleader of dreams. Here we talk about simple, practical ideas on how you can start, grow, and scale your successful business. I'm Dr. Regina Kingore, CEO LWK Africa, and today we'll be talking about how to enhance organizational processes or company processes. What are these processes that we're talking about? And also, as I talk about that, you can also tell me if you've ever done audit of your company processes or your business processes. So these are processes of how you run the organization, which is very, very important and which should be understood by every team member within the organization. For instance, for an organization that does procurement and selling of items, how do you procure? Do we write an LPO? First of all, how do we identify the person that we should buy the items from? Our supplier. How do we qualify our supplier? After we qualify them, how do we do a quotation? We do an LPO. When the goods come to the organization, which documentation should we have? Should we get an invoice, a delivery note? Do we write a good receipt note on our side? If they are goods returned, do we do those debit notes and credit notes? So those entire process, and when the items come, how do we move them to the stocks? Remember, these were purchases. How do we move them to our stocks in the organization? And how do we now do stock keeping? Do we do physical counts every day or every month? Do we maintain stocks on our accounting software? And after we do that, when do we monitor? When do we see the variances and everything? Then when we put them there as stock, how do we now sell this stuff? How do we get a customer now to sell our merchandise or our stocks? When we get that customer, how do we attract them? How do we retain them? How do we bring this customer in our accounting system that we are using? Then when they pay, how do they pay? Do they pay cash and pesa? Do we give them credit days? And after we give them credit days, when are they supposed to be paying? These are processes. And when they pay, how do we do bank reconciliations? And how do we follow up on our customers that they are able to come and they keep coming? Then how do we organize our accounting system? All the documentation provided at that particular point. Do we deliver to our customers, by the way? Do we offer them transport and the follow-up? So this process, from the time we procure the goods to the time we put them in our stock, to the time that we sold to the customer, and the whole entire process. Remember, within the organization, there are other processes. If you're doing manufacturing, you have a manufacturing process. At what time do we put these items in the machinery? This machinery might break down. What are the processes to make sure that the production continues very, very fast? Then we have HR. How do we bring teams on board? At what particular point do we say that we need somebody? When it comes to stocks, for instance, at what time do we order new stock? When do we identify minimum reorder level? So these are processes within the organization, and they should be documented. Most organizations, there is no documentation of your processes. And for your organization to be able to scale, you need to understand your process. Some of you say, I've been here for 10 years. I've been here for 5 years without progress. One of the key elements that is making you not progress is your processes. So you need to enhance those processes, and the way you enhance is through audit of the processes. And when we audit, we are able to now understand where we are. The other portion is that when we audit, we are also able to remove costs. Especially now when our economy has a lot of challenges, what we need to do is the managerial part, the processes part, the reduction of cost. How do you reduce your fuel cost, for instance? You need to have a document. You need to be able to see your processes and enhance them each one by one, so that you can be able to do the fuel, for instance, reduction. So the first thing that you need to do is analyze your current process or your current position. And this one, I would encourage you to get an auditor, and that is something that we do. So that when you get that independence eye or someone independent to be able to look at your processes, they are able to identify issues that you are not able to identify you yourself, because you've been there, you've been doing that, you know that, that's what you know. So you need somebody with an extra eye to be able to look at that. They are able to come in and observe how you do your work every day, from morning to evening. At every department, at every person, they look at the JD of the people. You have 3-4 accountants in the office. Are they doing work? Are they doing repetitive work? Are they doing work that can be done by 2 people? So at what time do you even know that I need an extra salesperson, I need an extra accountant? So they need to look at that, the entire processes, and do an observation with recommendations. With the recommendations, of course. So after we look at that, we look at areas of improvement. So analyze, the observation will come with the recommendation. Those recommendations are areas of improvement. So for instance, you may go to I may go to an organization and find that the way they qualify a customer to become their customer has a lot of gaps, and during this process audit, you also improve the company's internal controls. So you find that when they are qualifying this customer, there are some processes that were not followed properly, and this customer came in and was sold on credit. Remember, if you leave these opportunities or these gaps, there's always issues around people, even within the organization, looking for gaps which they can be able to manipulate. So the customer came in, you don't even know who this customer is, and immediately they were given goods on credit. And after that, the credit process, following this man, you find that someone was given 7 days or 14 days, they are lapsed, they are now 30 days, nobody is even following, they are 45 days, nobody is even following. So these are spaces where, after observation, we're able to do recommendations. Some organizations have a lot of stock, they don't have a stock system, they don't do physical stock. So those are areas of spaces where we do recommendations, and so many other things, because if the organization is doing manufacturing, we look at that and look at the entire process. The third point is eliminate bottlenecks or wastages. So when you look at the processes, you are able to identify cost-saving issues or the places where we are having issues. Sometimes you go to an organization and you find they actually record their customers on a book, which is also okay. When a customer calls, they are recorded on a book. And this book possibly is provided to the cashier to raise an invoice or a receipt. And by the time the cashier is taken this book, they will stay an hour, 2 hours without even looking at it, because they are also busy and other things. So we are able to identify the areas where we are having wastage of time. Some organization will do delivery of their items to their customers. So they have they have vehicles. So you find that the vehicle, by the time it is loaded from the cycles of loading from this store to the other one to the other one. At the end of the day, it stayed for 6 hours being loaded, just a very small load. Whereas if these items were situated in one store, the loading could happen even within an hour. So these are eliminating bottlenecks and wastages, and it will come where we are looking at the improvement of the processes. The other portion is automation. Automation is very key, especially now. So after identifying the areas of weaknesses, automation is very key. And there's so many ways you can be able to automate your processes. And right now we have automation in every angle. So if it is the accounting software, are you using the correct accounting software? Or is there another accounting software that you can be able to use and even automate your work very well? So you find some organization, they are able to do a point of sale or selling only, but they are not able to do expenses through the system. Even they cannot do stocks over the system, they can do production. So you can get a system that can be able to automate yourself. If you are having customers, you can do a CRM. So this CRM is able to record if someone calls, even for cost, someone calls to ask for something or even ask how much does it cost. Is that call recorded? Or someone answers and they continue with their work. So who is able to follow up on the customers who we talked about, who had called us last year and now this year? So that is a CRM to even retain and attract customers and monitor progress with our customers. So there are so many areas that you can be able to automate within the organization and be able to even improve your processes. So during the audit, that is where the automation and that recommendation comes in. Depending on the nature of the business that you're doing, there are so many systems to be able to automate. So depending on the organization. The other portion is improve communications and collaboration. Remember, processes within the organization is collaboration, is communication. So if this person is talking to a salesperson in the field, this salesperson is supposed to talk to the salesperson in the office. And the salesperson in the office is supposed to talk to the cashier to raise an invoice. Then the invoice is supposed to go to the store manager to issue out items. Then the finance should be able to follow up on the payment. That whole entire cycle is run by people who need a lot of collaboration and communication. So you find people, if these people are not working as a team, you find there are a lot of issues. Possibly someone is being called and they are not receiving their calls. Some others are saying, oh, I'm sick, I was in a meeting, so many. And this is where we talk about team building, where you can bring your entire team together, go out for a team building activity, let the people be able to operate as a team. Team building is very, very important. Also having those meetings with your staff to be able to tell them about the organization, what you are doing. Just enhancing team cohesion is very, very important in improving these processes. Also, asking for feedback. The moment you ask feedback from the teams, they can also be able to give you feedback. And you tell them, I would want us to improve our processes and make our work much easier. What do you think? What are some of the areas of help that you need? Even having those boxes, suggestion boxes within the organization is very, very important. Sometimes you find the people who are bringing down the processes down are managers who are not able to sign reports quickly, or they are not able to sign those invoices quickly. You have to keep looking, keep asking for things. So within the suggestion box, they can even tell you if this person is able to work faster, or we find a gap at this particular point. The other portion is train and empower your employees. I guess the next training we're going to talk about the teams and the employees and how you can be able to enhance them, because human capital is very, very important within the organization. It is the biggest capital actually. Sometimes you say, oh, I'll go get equity, I'll go get a loan. Sometimes some of us, we just need the right team, the right human resource for our organization to be able to scale. So train them, empower them, and build a culture of training, a culture of empowering your staff. Ask them for personal development, what would they want to learn? And even as they learn about skills within the organization, for instance, if the accounting team, you can do bookkeeping training for them, but you can also do other trainings for their own benefit. This could be personal development courses, how to do personal finance, for instance, is a very, very good course for them. And others, you can do customer service, and you can do trainings which you can also offer them certifications, which is very, very important. So for our organization that is having employees, I always recommend a training per month. That is very, very efficient if you want to scale, if you want to grow and scale that organization. The other portion, the final portion, is where you measure and optimize. You measure and optimize your processes. So after the process audit is done, and all these things have been recommendation, we eliminate bottlenecks, we've been training staff, we've been enhancing, then we require to measure and optimize. So on a yearly basis, you should be able to do a process audit and find, are we where we were or are we improving? So keep doing those audits, keep enhancing. Business is not something static. It's not something that you set and then you go and then it keeps running. No. And sometimes people say, is business that hard? I don't think it's that hard. But when you are passionate about it, it's very easy. But it's something that you have to keep enhancing, keep building, keep optimizing. Is an everyday activity. So we don't say because we did this year then everything is working. You need to look at it, pre-audit it again, audit it again next year, and enhance everything else. So with that, I know that we are building organizations that are able to grow and scale. So we are growing and scaling. Thank you so much for listening. See you next time. Asante.